Okay, so in this video we're going to start a new series that's going to detail the Yang style fan form that I created. There's other videos already up that are the whole sequence from the front view and from the back view. So we're just going to take a few moves, maybe 2 or 3 moves for each video in this series to basically detail all the way through. And so the series will probably unfold over the next couple of weeks. So here we go. We're going to begin the form as we do the empty hand form with our feet about hips width apart, our knees slightly relaxed and not locked, standing straight up and down. Easy kind of feeling through the center and no tightness. We're going to begin with a breath in and breathe out. And on that exhale, we're going to extend through the fingers, extend through the fan a bit as well on the out breath. Just like we do in the empty hand form, you breathe in and breathe out. That kind of gets things going. And so that's the first thing. And then we'll begin the movement with beginning of Tai Chi, which is a breath in, bringing the arms up to about the height of the shoulders. And then breathing out, sinking down, bending the knees, and pressing the palms down. Now, a couple things about this. As you begin the movement, you're going to actually extend and lead with the back of the hand or the wrist a little bit, both with the empty hand and with the hand that's holding the fan. They're going to, so from the side, it would look something like from here, something like that. You see how the wrists kind of move forward a little bit there. At the same time, you're going to tuck the pelvis, and those two movements are connected together. So the tuck of the pelvis and the move forward of the wrist happens at the same time as you inhale. As you raise the hands, stretch up the back of the neck, opening up the back. And then as we exhale, we're going to press the palms down and sink down. Now that sink is going to be to the level you're going to basically do the entire format, so don't get too ambitious with that. When the fan when you're pressing it down, the palm of your hand should be facing the floor, and so the fan is going to be flat, like this, instead of held vertically, like that. You can see the difference. So, in and out. Nice and easy. I'm also going to be sinking my weight as I'm breathing out and sinking down more into the left foot. So, here, sink down into the left. And then when I get to this point, I'm going to pull. Now we're going to begin the ward off left movement. We have the transition movement, and this is done pretty much just like it's done in the empty hand form. So we're going to pull the left hip back, not too much. We don't want our knees getting out of alignment. As I pull the left hip back, I've got to open the right hip just a little bit to keep that knee from buckling in, and I've got to allow the left hip here to close to keep this knee from buckling to the outside or rolling my foot. So pull the hip back a little bit. The upper gate will begin to close just a little, and as you do that, as you close the upper gate and pull the left hip back, turn the fan in to come across your center line a little bit. So there. So the fan kind of hooks across, cuts across this way. Okay? Now with the weight mostly in the left foot, I'll pull the right hip back, raise the fan up, just like this, keeping it pretty flat, not turning it like that. I don't want a big bend in my wrist. And I'll coil the left hand under, pretty much like we do with the empty hand form here. Just pull the right hip back, and I'm going to open both hip joints. Now this is exactly as it's in the empty hand form. As I pull my right hip back, I'm opening my left hip joint in order to keep my left knee pointing the same way as my left foot. And I'm also opening the right hip joint to open the right foot up to a 90-degree angle from my left foot. But my center line is splitting the difference. It's going 45 degrees to the corner. So I'm not trying to turn too much because I'll torque that knee if I do. So what we want is pull the left hip, pull the right hip, and I'm continuing to keep the upper gate closed. Now my center line is facing the 45-degree angle, and I've got a 90-degree angle between the feet. Now I'm going to shift, without turning, I'm going to shift into the right foot. When I feel I can release the left foot, then I'll pull the right hip back again and complete the turn all the way to the side. And as I do that, I'll allow that turn to pull the right foot up. The left foot, I'm sorry. Pull the left foot up to the right foot, okay? All my weight's in the right foot now. So that's the beginning part of ward off left. The transitional part, we pull the left hip back, we pull the right hip back to where we're facing the corner, shift over, release the left foot, pull the right hip again, and there we are. Now I'm going to sink down a little bit more into the right foot and allow that to help me push the left foot, or almost squeeze the left foot out and take that step. There's no weight committed to it until I touch the ground. And I'm not going straight out to the 45. I'm actually off at an oblique angle a little bit here, sidestepping. So that'll give me a nice channel between my feet when I've come to the finish posture. So from here, the palm, right palm and fan are flat down, or pointing down. Left palm is up. Sink and take that step. I'm going to shift my weight and raise the left hand, pulling down the fan, and turn to face the corner. About 60% or 70% in the left foot, and the remaining in the right. And that's ward off left. Now the action here is, it's when we do this without the fan, the palms are directly over each other, and then the left hand will come up in front of the right fingers, okay? It's going to be a little different with the fan in that the palms are almost over each other, but I'm really kind of the main body of the fan is above the left hand. And then as I come around this way, the left hand comes up in front of the tip of the fan, so that there's a little bit of a bend to the wrist this way, and the fan is where my right hand fingers would be normally on the empty hand form. So if you can, I'm going to do this kind of facing this way so you can see sort of the angle of the hands. See how the left hand comes across the front of the fan, okay? And that's ward off left. All right, so I'll just do those two once more and highlight the important parts. First, you take your breath in and out, opening the fingers. Tuck the pelvis, leading with the wrists. Stretch up the back of the neck. Sink down, pressing the palms down, breathing out. Ward off left, pull the left hip back, cutting across. Pull the right hip, only turning to the 45-degree angle. Shift, release the left foot, and pull the right hip again. Sink as you step, shift and turn, pushing the right hand down, and the left hand rises up, okay? All right, I'm going to recenter the camera a little bit. From here, we're going to do grasp bird's tail. So the transition first. I'm going to shift back and pull the right hip, then shift into the left leg, and then pull the left hip and draw the right foot up. That's pretty much how I do this in the empty hand version as well. So, and the hands are almost exactly the same too, except we're going to open the fan at the very end of that. So as I pull back, or shift back and pull the right hip back, I'm going to rotate the left palm facing down. The right hand holding the fan is going to go from a palm down position to a palm in position. So I'm rotating this, and this is like a little bit like holding a knife when you're going to go chop vegetables or something. You're now holding it in a vertical position. Chopping vegetables, crushing garlic. I don't know. Cooking reference. What can I say? So pull the right hip, both hands rotate here. I'm also going to let the fan sweep out a little bit and point, and it's not way back here. I'm not hinging my wrist back crazy. It's not way back here. It just needs to go to about there, okay? Which, from, if you can't see on camera, is not quite to the wall. It's a little bit back behind that line there, but it's not pointing way back. Then as I shift into the left foot, I'm going to then release the right foot, pull the left hip, and flick the wrist just a little. You don't want to go crazy with that. Just flick the wrist a little bit and open the fan horizontally as you bring the right foot in, okay? And if you've done this right, the fan should be kind of pointing straight forward the same direction as when we were facing when we started the form. If you bend the wrist too much, the fan's coming back in on you, and that's not what we want. So the amount of wrist involved is like that much. It's a very small amount. It's mostly the turn of the body, the drop in here, and you don't need much more than that to get the fan to open. Take some practice, but if you time it right, it'll have a nice loud pop to it. Wake up your cat, that's for sure. Okay, so we're back here, okay, and shift. I haven't turned yet, I'm turning at the end. Okay, now step out with the right foot, make sure we're establishing a channel. Ward off, we'll be here, shift and turn. Bring the fan to a vertical position, and I'm rolling the left hand under. It's very similar to the empty hand form, except in the empty hand form, I'm going to turn my hand over a little bit more. Here, I'm going to bring the fan this way. Then we're going to come back, and I'm brushing. I'm not trying to scoop with the fan back. I'm trying to brush across as if you're going to fan someone over there. If you practice this, like say against a wall, it would be like dragging the fan across the wall like that, okay? So here, pull or shift back, pull the left hip, bring the left hand down. Now then I'm going to pull the right hip back and allow that to pull the fan like this. So the fan's going to come in and go whoop, and kind of swoop back into place right there, okay? Slower than what I just did, but sometimes demonstrating it fast, you can kind of see where the flow is going to go. And as I do that, I'm going to close here, close the upper gate, and connect the left fingers to the inside of the right wrist. Actually, and you could put this more on the fan if you'd like to. I think that would be a legitimate way. But if you do it on the inside of the right wrist, it's going to be more similar to how we do this in the empty hand version. So that's kind of what I'm doing. It's right here. Okay. Now I'm going to take that. I've turned this way again and shift forward and sink into the front foot. Okay. There's press. Then open. Fan's vertical and pointing down the line as we shift back. And that's withdraw and push. Okay, so that's the grasp bird's tail movement. I'm just going to go from the end of ward off left one more time and do the grasp bird's tail movement, and that's as far as we'll get for this video. So when we finish the ward off left, we're here. The transition, shift back, pull the right hip, shift forward, pull the left hip, step out with the right foot, ward off, roll back, press. Don't block your view with the fan on that press. And then withdraw and push. Okay? If you see that from the front, what I said about not blocking your view is you can still see my face, and I can still see the camera. So I'm not doing this as much as you might want me to. And then there. Okay. Good. So the next video will be single whip and maybe the next couple moves from there. So that'll get you started for now, and we'll see you in the next video.